And movies like this is the reason why I wait a couple days and weeks before I give you the top 10 best and worst movies of the year, because these hidden gems deserved to be talked about. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon, reviewing How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies. So it's about pretty simple premise. You kind of get the gist of this movie. Grandma's about to die, and now you have 3 of the siblings, 2 brothers, a sister, and a grandson who are trying to figure out what can they do for grandma to get the inheritance, the house, the money, all the stuff that's going to occur with generational wealth that gets trickled down. Even though she's really not that rich, all of them kind of want whatever they can grab. So it's a 2-hour movie about that. And when you think about that, you're thinking, how can this be that good of a movie? It's good. It's not good. It's great. It's damn near perfect in my opinion. Like, when it comes to this about death, about family, and about trauma, this sticks to the core with me because I've experienced all of it when it comes to my mom's side of the family with death and what occurs with money. Because like I said, when my sister died, money was involved. When my grandma died, money was involved, especially with my mom's side of the family, where it's just absolutely horrendous of where it's going. It's not my mom's fault. It's everyone else wanting that cash and having to do with the assets of what to do with it and who's to blame for what. And just knowing this story and this writer-director, I think it's his first time writing and directing a film, to me, this would be a movie that would be in the Oscar contention for Best Foreign Feature, hands down. So, because I like it so much, I like to doing the negatives first with movies like this. And the negative for this movie is it felt too real. I know that sounds kind of weird, and I always talk about Hollywood, even though this is not a Hollywood movie, this is a Thailand film, where everything is too real, but it gives you a perspective from other cultures that you don't think about. And I know this is going to sound really weird, but to me, it was the healthcare scene that really stuck out to me, of how you would have to go to these ERs/emergency rooms and put your shoes in a line in some other countries, and you got to hope to get chemo that day. You fingers crossed. And I know a lot of people talk about healthcare in the U.S. being shitty, but I just think it's funny that a lot of doctors come to the U.S. because it's better. And I've lived in Portugal, and I know there's a lot of people that wish they were in the States because the treatment would be better. Then you also have socialist healthcare like Britain that refuses to take because the parents want their baby to go to the United States to maybe save their lives, but the British government's like, no, we refuse and we will not let you take your baby. The government's taking control of the baby. So it's shit like that. And you also speak to Canadians who say like they're on a 9-month wait to even check something out because of that type of healthcare. So I know that's kind of weird to talk about this film, but I do think it brings to light how everyone likes to bitch and moan about something, but they need to look at other countries and other people's like just struggles, because even when you look at this life about, grave plots and things like that, where they do way more than other countries, where you have this massive $1 million grave plot and it's there to light fireworks off and leave food out, leave flower petals all over the big hump, if you want to put it that way, and they kind of make it a spectacle. And things like that really puts light into what this movie can bring. But when it comes to the overall movie itself, I couldn't find an issue with it except that it just was truth to form with all the acting. You felt the drama. You felt like these were siblings. This was a grandma and her, the grandma and this, what am I trying to say? Her grandchild, if you want to put it that way. I just felt that, and I'm just getting flustered with all the emotions that are coming into my life, because there were so many scenes in this movie that I'm like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, because I hate death. And this just talks about it, where it's like also the greed in people, where even though I'm crying, about to cry in some scenes, I'm angry in the other scenes of what some of the brothers are trying to do, stealing mother from the grandma, trying to use the grandma, trying to get on her good side to get money from her. And, there are just little, slow, just daggers to the soul in this movie, especially one with also a cousin character where she purposely does it because she knows that if she's good grace, she will get money from an old uncle, her grandfather, a niece, and things like that, where she's even like recruiting, like, hey, if you help me take her to the hospital, we'll split the cut with some of this inheritance. And I know some reviewers are giving this only a 3 out of 5, and they're saying, oh, this is all about the money and how it's not fair for some of the generations to get one thing. That is not what this movie's about, because there are elements in this movie where she went to her brother's house, and that scene was probably the most saddening thing in my life, where it's like the brother refuses to help the sister at all, even though he has millions upon millions of dollars in a huge ass house, and he's blaming her for absolutely nothing, where the husband was a shit husband. Well, it was an arranged marriage, so how is that her fault? And just things like that, and you're just like, oh, this hurts the fucking soul when you watch this stuff, and it's just so miserable where, sometimes greed gets to people through it and throughout, and that's what this movie is of what, and the scene. And there's so many things, like, even though I say, like, there's things that you look at other countries, there's also other things where you just look at what happened in your own life, and you're like, yep, that's happened to me. For example, when the grandma, there's something that happens at the very end, and I'm like, bonds. My mom did that with bonds ever since we were little, and things like that. And, of course, I took my bonds out and put into more savings, but it's just things like that where you're like, gosh, dang it, like, are humans really that different? It doesn't matter where you're from in the world. You might not speak the same language. You might not have the same culture. But my God, you have the same endeavors in life. And you have the same humanistic instincts. As well as humanistic just tendencies. And it doesn't matter who you are, what race you are, what culture you are, who you are in the world. You're probably going to have it, or it's going to be in your mind. Because humans, I'm pretty sure, think the same way through it and throughout. But my goodness, I think the craft of this movie is fantastic. The technical aspect, the score is subtle. The acting is top-notch. You felt the emotions through all the characters involved. You felt the backstab, and you felt just heartache. You felt the happiness. You felt the sadness. All emotions on full frontal. And like I said, movies like this are why I say, hold up, wait a couple weeks, and watch these freaking fantastic films. So How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies will receive a 5 out of 5 with Futon. Equals at 100%. Let's see the Critics News scores gave this one. Critics, a 100% with 30 of them. Audience score at 96% with over 250. No critic consensus. I am curious on the critics. So it's actually a 78% instead of the 100 when it comes to that. But the audience loves this. 196. Chase out here at the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know things Bluetontopia. You Blue Futonians. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. I don't care about this today, tomorrow, week from, a month, or a year from. Every single freaking one of you. Peace and love. Peace and love. And just be good to your family members, because you have no idea when the last day is, and cancer's a fucking bitch.